Well, on this particular day I thought I'd take my young granddaughter for a visit to Bolling Hall. It's situated between East and West Bolling and separated by a large park called Bolling Park.
Hello, sweetie.
And not Bolling Park as some people seem to think it's called that. But Bolling and Bowling are totally different names. But Bolling Hall was presented to Bradford Corporation in 1912, and then it was opened as a museum 3 years later. During the second siege of Bradford in 1643, during the English Civil War, the house was a royalist base, and on this occasion the royalists took the town, which had a strong parliamentarian sympathies, and it was thought that the victors would put the inhabitants to the sword. Now Bolling Hall has 20 ghostly residents from different periods of time, and one in particular dates from the Civil War period, 1643, when the Earl of Newcastle, the royalist commander, slept in what is now called the ghost room, and he woke up in the middle of the night when his bedsheet was being pulled. The ghost of a woman was standing in his room, pleading to the commander to pity poor Bradford. Still shaken in the morning, he decided to change his original plan. That was to kill the residents of Bradford who had strong parliamentarian sympathies. He now ordered that his troops to only kill those who offered resistance, so only 10 people were killed that day. There is quite a lot of information in the museum which relates to the Civil War period, and interestingly enough there's a death mask of Oliver Cromwell on display. And down these steps on the right leads to the park, leads to Bolling Park. And here we are at the entrance to the hall. Also, there's some nice gardens you can walk around. Here we are in the period kitchen, all nicely refurbished with various items on display. There's the visitor's book which my granddaughter is signing. And for some reason you can't get into this other part, I don't know why. I've never known this being roped off before. There are lots of interesting areas in this museum, and set in different periods, which the hall had gone through.
Oh, but with the ghost songs.
There's some interesting items in this part. There's a globe, a telescope. Now in one of the other rooms there's another telescope, a little bit bigger than this one I think. And in the 50s when I was a schoolboy, me and my pal were mad about astronomy and built our own telescope. And on a visit to this museum, we spotted the telescope.
Look at this telescope.
And as we were mad about looking through telescopes and astronomy,
I had a sneak look through.
we decided that one of us would have a peek through it. So while my school pal waited at the door and kept his ear open for any footsteps, for anybody approaching, I quickly nipped over the barrier and had a look through the telescope. And then when I had my view, I did the same and kept a watch at the door just in case anybody was coming, while my pal had a look through the telescope. He won't be able to do that today with all the security cameras and guards about. And also we had no intention of vandalising or doing any damage, it was just curiosity. And now my granddaughter filling in the questionnaire, things to spot, and a puzzle and various other things. Quite a variety of exhibits in the museum, and they're all of great interest. Everything's nicely preserved, and the wooden floors are absolutely amazing. View of Bolling Hall. And this is the main hall. The boar's head on the above the fireplace. It's the symbol of Bradford. I'm busy filling in the questionnaire. Oliver Cromwell's death mask used to be displayed here in the 50s. Here we have another display of a different period. Now there's one item I could not find anywhere, and that was a large floor stand in polyform with quite a large disc. I've always found it of interest looking at this polyform, but I couldn't find it anywhere. They must have either withdrawn it, or it's in for refurbishment, or whatever. But I was a little bit disappointed. And now we're just going into this spectacular dining room. Absolutely amazing. Look at the quality of the items. It's really beautifully done out. Certainly lived in lavish styles in those days. And now we're into the nursery, much to the delight of my granddaughter. There we are, just walking along the balcony, looking down into the Great Hall, on our way to the ghost room. My young granddaughter was a little bit unsure about going into the ghost room, but I think she was okay. In fact, she enjoyed it. And here we are into the famous ghost room. Well, this is the room where the royalist commander, the Earl of Newcastle, slept, and said he was woken by the ghost in the middle of the night.
What is her
HM.
Yeah, we're just going down into another bedroom. Another great 4-poster bed. I've often said I think Bolling Hall is actually a hidden gem, and it's not as widely known as a lot of other museums. And I don't think Bradford gives it enough publicity. They used to stage quite a lot of Civil War weekends, demonstrating musketry and uniforms and parades and live cannon firing. But unfortunately, the land where this used to take place has been developed, and now it's no longer possible for cannons to be fired. These events were staged by the Civil War societies, and they were really interesting weekends. If you're interested in watching a video of demos and reenactments of Civil War, I've put a link below to a video which I took quite a few years ago now, when these events were taking place at the... Yeah, we're just going into the Civil War room, where there's various exhibits of the Civil War. There in the corner, in the red cabinet, there's some cannonballs which were recovered from Adwalton Moor, which is not far from here. Various other interesting items about the room. My young granddaughter here has found something of interest to read. The small cabinet there, in the red cabinet, there's the death mask of Oliver Cromwell. I remember this in the 50s when I was a school kid, and we used to call here on our way to see Grandma and Grandad, and Dad always made a point of showing me Oliver Cromwell's death mask. And I remember it staring down at me from the place where it was shown in the Great Hall, and it always used to frighten me. Well, my young granddaughter never batted an eyelid at this death mask. There's quite a lot of interesting items in this room, and the cannonballs which I mentioned are particularly interesting because, as I say, they came from Adwalton Moor. The Battle of Adwalton Moor occurred on the 30th of June 1643 at Adwalton, West Yorkshire, which is not far away from here, during the First English Civil War. In the battle, the Royalists, loyal to King Charles, led by the Earl of Newcastle, soundly defeated the parliamentarians commanded by Lord Fairfax. The local school, which is only a stone's throw from Bolling Hall, was at one time called Fairfax School. Now this is called the medieval room, which there's various items on display relating to the medieval period. There's various helmets and armour and
look at these helmets
and period dress.
Okay, you can't win that. Scared. I'm scared. I want to go back out.
Oh, you're scared, are you? Well, you shouldn't go in there. Go on then.
Bolling Hall do stage ghost hunts where people wander around the building and try and spot ghosts, and it's people have claimed they have actually seen these ghosts, and it's supposed to be the most haunted building in Bradford.
What? Can you what?
There was one spectacular room which I failed to video, but I did take a still picture, and I've put the picture on the end of this video. It's a really spectacular room, and it's all in red. Well, that's just about the end of the short tour around the museum. Just going to the exit now. It's, if you're in the area, you ought to pay a call. It's quite an interesting museum. There's various little projects for the children to do. There's I Spy type things in it. Yeah, they also get a little goodie bag with various projects in. It can make it a very interesting day out. Well worth a visit. And there's a nice garden area to walk around. This is also an area where the Civil War reenactment have their camp, and they do parades on this area. There's nothing being held here for quite a while now, and I think it was due to the COVID. Obviously, they can't use the cannons like they used to on the other area because that's been developed, unfortunately. But there is a link below there which will take you to my previous video where there was live cannon firing on the area, which I've just mentioned. Just on our way out of the grounds, there's another well at the side of the building. And of course there's one at the opposite side.
I can't see.
Quite a deep well. Well, I hope you found this of interest, and there's some pictures to follow. And thanks for watching.